ECOWAS leaders are meeting for an emergency closed-door summit in Abuja. The gathering today comes after a deadline the body set for democracy to be restored in Niger came and went. Coup leaders have so far ignored calls to reinstate Niger's president. The possibility of a military intervention by ECOWAS was made more complicated after neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso said it would be tantamount to a declaration of war. Take a listen to what Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu had to say as the meeting began today.
We still look to engage the party involved, including the coup leaders, in honest discussion to convince them to relinquish power as suggested and reinstate President Bazoum.
We can now bring in our international affairs editor, Philip Turl. Philip, great to see you as always. Is this a make or break moment for ECOWAS?
I think this is one of those moments when ECOWAS is being looked upon as having to come up with some kind of solution, some kind of answers, and some kind of way forward in all of this, which they haven't managed to do up until now. Remember last week there was this 1 week deadline to put Mohamed Bazoum back in power in Niger, the deposed president since the 26th of July. That deadline went by on Sunday. Many were saying, well, there's going to be armed intervention to forcibly put the president back where he was before he was overthrown. That didn't materialise. ECOWAS was saying it will be a last resort only, which led many to believe that it was now being pushed back to being on the back burner, if you like, for the foreseeable future. So that means they're now trying to work towards some kind of negotiated settlement, a diplomatic solution to what's going on in Niger. The problem for ECOWAS is that up until now, all their efforts to communicate with the junta have come to nothing. They sent a delegation of ECOWAS to meet them. They only got as far as the airport in Niamey, and then they came back empty-handed. They didn't meet the coup leader. Then a group of ECOWAS leaders, the United Nations and the African Union were also due to go there this week. They were told they couldn't go for security reasons because of the sanctions imposed by ECOWAS that would put their lives in jeopardy. Even Victoria Nuland, the Deputy Secretary of State of the United States, hasn't managed to meet the coup leaders. So there is this blockage down the line where, well, we're not going to launch a military action to put Mohamed Bazoum back because there isn't all the support within ECOWAS necessary for that to take place. And at the same time, we're not getting very far with our diplomatic efforts to try to work out a solution. So where is that going to leave ECOWAS? The time is ticking by. This is a one-day meeting. We're expecting some kind of statement tonight. I think there may just be somewhere down the line, perhaps, the feeling that if they can get away from this meeting with the release of Mohamed Bazoum from house arrest, that will already be a step in the right direction. But even that is not certain today.
Philip, but things were made more complicated, especially when it came to the threat of a military intervention after Mali and Burkina Faso said any intervention in Niger would be a declaration of war, and in their countries as well. So there's a risk that this could spread into a larger regional conflict.
And that is one of the reasons I think that this has been pushed to the sidelines for the moment, because there is this growing uncertainty about what this actually would mean. It's not just a case of going in there and putting Mohamed Bazoum back in power. How would they do that? With what means? Which countries would take part? Obviously, Côte d'Ivoire and also Senegal have said that they are willing to help in the military action if there is some, but other countries that were originally willing to do so are now beginning a little bit to be slightly more reserved, including Benin, for example, which wanted to do it now because of public opinion back home, are saying, well, maybe it's not such a good idea. And even in Nigeria itself, there are divisions over whether or not it's a good idea, because if you take Nigerian forces out of the country to get them into a military role in Niger, that's going to mean there'll be less performance back home, and that will open the door to more jihadist activity from Boko Haram. So there's no easy solution to all of this. And that's why I think that the effort is now being put on sanctions to try to bring the coup leaders to the negotiating table. So far, that hasn't worked. What they're going to do today remains uncertain, but we'll see in the next few hours what is in the closing statement.
We'll see what comes out of that meeting. Thank you very much for that, Philip. Philip Tell there.